I used to think that things that have happened elsewhere couldn't happen here, right? And I don't think that anymore. I hear hypocrisy and dishonesty and disingenuousness on such a scale, possibly because I'm so tuned into it, possibly because I'm doing this job for a living, and I listen to the comments and the contributions to public discourse that other people make, and I hear people telling you things, and I see things in newspapers that are demonstrably untrue or just so ridiculous that I can't believe how much contempt many right-wing commentators have for you, even as you believe what they tell you and decide to hate on me. I just will never change on that, I don't think. I will always try to tell you the truth, even as you shout at me and call me names for trying to do so, because otherwise there's no point coming to work every day. But, you just look at this reminder that Theresa May offered him a full state visit a week after he got elected, a week after his inauguration. I think there's only been 2 state visits, only Bush 1 and Barack Obama, Bush 2, sorry, and George W. and Barack Obama, who got state visits during the current Queen's reign. But Theresa May rolled out the red carpet for Donald Trump in 2019. And of course, Jacob Rees-Mogg wrote about how we should roll out the reddest of red carpets. And this was all after he'd said those things about Barack Obama's birth certificate, after he'd said those things about John McCain's military record, after he'd done those things to that disabled journalist, after he'd maligned the memory of a dead American soldier, after he'd been found to have boasted on tape about sexually assaulting women. All of this had already happened, and Theresa May rolled out a red carpet for him a week, or sent out the invitation for him a week after his inauguration. And then when the British ambassador to Washington had his private communications leaked, Boris Johnson made him walk the plank. I mean, it is, I'm afraid, horrible to reflect upon how unconcerned. I give you unconcerned if you're uncomfortable with enthusiastic. I'm afraid that describing his many, many good qualities, as Johnson did, or describing him as a phenomenon, as Gove did, looks to me like cheerleading. But okay, we'll call it ambivalence if that makes it easier. But in many ways, ambivalence in the face of this sort of evil is as bad as support. Silence is compliance, or whatever that clever phrases that I think I may have just misremembered. And that's why it's so grim to see the attempts to disown it, to pretend it never happened. Philip Davis, the MP for Shipley, said, "Lots of my constituents agree with what Donald Trump said, whether I like it or not." Should they be expelled from the country as a result of their views? This is in response to a question of whether or not Donald Trump should be allowed to address the House of Commons, not whether or not racists in Shipley should be deported. He also said, "I think that we should celebrate politicians who stand up and say things that are unpopular and controversial." So there's a Conservative MP there who thinks we should celebrate Donald Trump because he says things that are unpopular and controversial. No matter whether they're true or not, or dangerous, divisive or insightful, they're unpopular and controversial. So good, go Trump. And, he's still in the House of Commons, so the dust will settle, normal business will be resumed, but I will never, and now, because I've inflicted it upon you, you will never be able to forget the fact that actually this country is just as vulnerable to these sort of movements as any other, as any country where they've worked historically.